The first thought that Cooler had before the fight even began was, what are all of them even doing here? Not only was there some bumbling, loud-mouthed idiot trying to get in line before Son Goku, but it seemed, as it was explained to him on the way to the battlefield, that one of the androids also had joined their team, the fully mechanical one. The Emperor was just questioning all the time the wisdom of this alliance, but then again, they had allied with him as well. They seemed to be not too picky in terms of ceasefires, clearly, which at the moment he sort of understood. Now, he wanted to see Son Goku's gains against Cell. Maybe the whole thing will be over before it even began, he thought. He had his eyes though on the exchange that had just commenced. Rarely could he watch the Saiyan fight from that perspective, having remembered his own fight and that being particularly brutal. To him, it was more like a dance. He hated to admit it, but the artificial abomination was also quite skilled. How much did he owe to actual hard work and training instead of the source of his power because of his supreme genetics? It was hard to gauge, but whatever he saw was actually pretty good. It both sickened him and reminded him of Freeza. I mean, of course, because part of Cell is Freeza, and technically part him. He really hoped Son Goku would win this match. Of the two of them, he had at least grown to respect the monkey for his overall growth and progression. Cell though, Cell is what was wrong about Frieza, except much worse. But it became pretty clear to Cooler that he was looking at least at equals, not a clear winner. Even Salza was utterly stunned by the scale of this duel. It was almost hypnotizing. It seemed that Perfect Cell had gotten tired of having to fight within the confines of the ring, so why build the damn thing in the first place? Cooler thought to himself. In fact, he almost shouted it out, but there was no point. Well, he quickly got some karmic justice, as Son Goku then used instant transmission right next to him and Kamehameha'd away the entire top half of Cell. It was not enough to kill him exactly, but there was something quite satisfying in seeing the Bugman being reduced to a pair of legs and having to regrow most of his body. It surely must have been quite exhausting. And then the Saiyan did something unexpected. He forfeited the fight, much to everybody's dismay and Cooler's abject fury. Not only that, but he then gave Cell one of those sensu beans.
Are you utterly insane, monkey?
Cooler seemed a little bit furious, I will tell you. I never thought I would catch myself saying this, but Goku, I agree with Cooler.
What are you doing?
The Emperor then gave him an acknowledging look. Virtual stuff.
See? Even your trusted lackey gets it. No one understands.
Oh, don't worry. I picked a warrior to beat you, Cell, and his name is Gohan.
Everyone, including the son of the Saiyan, scowled in disbelief. His pacifistic progeny? Yes, Cooler knew that there was some trick in there. There was some logic in there, buried deep down, but the child was as willing to fight as the Emperor was willing to continue this charade.
No, I don't think so.
Cooler stepped forward.
I will be next, Saiyan. Keep your brat away from the fight. He may injure himself beyond belief. Oh, look. His Highness has gotten angry.
Cell stepped in.
It's time to show you why I'm superior to your kind. I can always have fun with the kid later. That was a good joke, Goku, I'll give you that.
You won't get an opportunity.
We shall see about that. You know, the Frieza in me is really itching to kill you right now. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Well then, it seems that will be satisfaction by proxy. Cell giggled.
Less talking, more fighting.
And just like Son Goku before him, Cooler started his own little dance with the creature. Initially, he went for some super swift attacks that weren't doing all that much damage. Cell was in a jovial, mocking mood at the moment, trying to downplay the impact of those punches. Little did he know though that it was what Cooler was counting on for him to do. And when he threw another one at the creature, when it decided not to block and just take the attack, he then transformed into his fifth form. he felt the shift of his own prosthetics and his fist, which had grown and connected with his opponent's abdomen. He did draw the first blood after all. His opponent could not see his reaction from under the face mask, but he was smiling cooler. Then he lashed him with his massive tail, throwing him into the nearby mountain over there. But Cooler wasn't stupid. He knew that he only had the upper hand mainly for the fact that he got a surprise attack in him. In conventional quarters, it wouldn't be nearly as easy. He followed in his stead, between the shattered rocks and located Cell. He then grabbed his face and decided to give him a little trip through the entire mountain range, just in case he hadn't gotten the point across. He was aware that his opponent could take a lot of damage. He was just going to send a message for the moment. Cell was getting annoyed by this and started to push back. He had gotten tired of being passive through the initial part of this duel, humoring the likes of Cooler, and managed to wrestle away from Cooler's grasp and go for an uppercut mid-flight. The Emperor tried to recover after the punch and head-bashed the Bugman with his massive spiky cranium, now adorned with even more spikes in his fifth form. Cell faked the blackout, only to shoot a death beam through his chest. This did hurt, and his opponent was smart enough to aim for his cybernetic bits. Still, he was strong enough to uphold his form as he charged upon the enemy of all, and then slammed him in the face with his knee. He felt as if something had broken. Good. He concentrated the energy to then flow through his body and started to blast Cell point blank, up close, rapid key attacks to put him on the defensive. He was really hoping his mechanical bits could sustain this. He did know exactly how durable his opponent was, but knowing his own capabilities, combined with the Namekian's regeneration, anyone was guessing right now. He would need to do a lot of damage to crack this particular nut. Cell regarded him with bloody satisfaction.
Well, Emperor, this is better than I thought it would be.
He spat out some blood.
But it's time to end our little play,
he said, blocking Cooler's fist. It was now or never. Cooler then focused on trying to send as much energy as he could throughout his overall body.
Oh no you don't. You taught me one little trick a while ago.
Cell looked at him and shot an I-beam, damaging a large portion of Cooler's head cybernetics. Cooler shouted in pain as his prosthetics started to burn with the upcoming damage. In that state, they could not keep up with the increase in power. They were his weak spots, and Cell had figured that out. That was the thing that Goku had. The Bugman then began to hit all the other mechanical parts of Cooler's body. Not completely destroying them, of course, but making sure that they were unable to hold any more power, limiting the progression of Cooler. And the Emperor cursed. He knew that absolute twerp had figured that out.
A good attempt, but unfortunately, something is holding you back.
The Bugman then impaled Cooler with his hand, allowing the warm purple blood to ooze from the wound. And then Cell blasted him right from the inside. Cooler plummeted, reverting back to his fourth form.
Monsieur Cooler!
Salza had quickly caught his wounded leader, all of his mechanical bits sparking and glowing.
Give him the damn bean!
Krillin hesitated, but after some knowing looks from Goku and Piccolo, he reluctantly gave the bean to the Emperor. The Emperor was livid. He had been tricked, and right now he needed his artificial bits to cool off before they could self-repair. Was it the failure of his own scientists? A sabotage from the Earth Woman? No. This was on him. He had allowed Cell to outsmart him. He did have his father's DNA. He knew him. That was an unfair advantage. They could only watch as the Bugman grabbed yet another beam from the bald one, despite Vegeta trying to stop him and being pushed aside to heal himself. He basically got the idea from Goku and just
yoink! So, how about this whole Gohan business then? The Emperor was rather fun, I will admit, but I'm curious. How will Goku's little game play out?
Cooler was angry, but he then decided to reluctantly trust Son Goku's judgment. This thing could be defeated. He could feel that during the fight. If only his cybernetics hadn't failed him and Cell had managed to figure out the weak spot, he might have stood a chance. Meanwhile, the fight between the boy and the bug began. and it wasn't impressive. Son Gohan really wasn't willing to fight, which distressed everyone involved. Everyone except Goku. The boy even tried to plead with the monster, saying that he didn't want to fight them, as he could maybe destroy everything, go berserk. What was this ridiculousness, Cooler thought? The child was becoming even less logical than his own father. Cooler knew that their attachment to this planet was pretty strong, and its people were a weakness, but this was just going beyond the pale. That the Saiyans should just rid themselves of it if they were to stand any hope of winning. Suddenly, the android decided to take the initiative and go for a grapple. He revealed that he was willing to take Cell down with the bomb implanted within him. But it turned out that no, it had been removed without his knowledge by the Bulma scientist. Well, maybe his own prosthetics were a sabotage after all, he thought. Still, it was a pathetic sight to see this bug and burly automaton be dissembled with a single attack, with the head just rolling away, comedically almost. Cell was visibly trying to push the kid. It was a curious sight for Cooler. It seemed like this creature had Son Goku and Vegeta's thirst for battle, but just more extreme, amplified many times. Like an insatiable hunger that he previously had exhibited towards the androids and other life forms that he had absorbed. Suddenly, the monster did something rather surprising. He then created 7 smaller versions of himself, which proceeded to attack everyone watching, so they weren't sitting idle. They were astonishingly as strong as him. The fighters had no choice but to team up, with Vegeta, Salza and Trunks able to do the most since they were less tired. Son Goku did not take the sensu for some bizarre, idiotic reason, and whilst Cooler's prosthetics were still cooling off, he basically could defend. His body may have healed, but sadly, his cybernetics would take way longer to do so, and they were currently failing him. He decided to take the smaller version of Cell on a little flyby, where he then spotted a weird scene. The android's head was fully functional, and the bumbling loudmouth man that tried to challenge Cell earlier, who had been hiding behind a rock, together with 2 journalists, were talking to it. They squirmed at the sight of Cooler behind them, chased by this terrifying toddler.
Cooler, you need to take me closer to Gohan.
The Emperor of the Universe did not like taking orders from a mere machine or a head of a machine. He responded defending.
I know how to get him to fight. Trust me.
Cooler mustered all the strength he had in him and lashed Cell Jr. away with his tail, throwing him into a mountain where just a while ago he had been taking his father on a magical trip.
Curse you, machine! I hope you're right about this.
He picked up the head and threw it toward Gohan. Then he had to run back to the group, as the little creature had become very angry. This was humiliating, but his prosthetics needed more time.
Gohan, let it go. It is not a sin to fight for the right cause. There are those whom words alone will not reach. A Cell is such a being. I know how you feel, Gohan. You are gentle. You do not like to be hurt. I know because I too have learned these feelings, but it is because you cherish life that you must protect it. Please drop your restraints. Protect the life I loved. You have the strength. My scanners have sensed it. Just let it go.
And then Cell shattered the head under his foot. So it had come to this. A failed speech from a talking head, and then they would die. Not even by Cell himself, but from his lesser copies. Cell considered flying upwards and decimating everything with a death ball to spare everyone the humiliation, but he held himself back. His thoughts were then interrupted by a flow of massive power that suddenly came from Gohan. He had gone past Super Saiyan, and even Cooler and Salza were stunned by this. Could it be? Was this brat really stronger than everyone else? Cell seemed rather pleased, but expressed mild concern when the boy had destroyed all of the juniors with a single hit each. One single hit. The Emperor then turned to Son Goku. It seemed like everything had gone according to plan. This man was a puzzle. The Namekian was right. Nobody had figured him out, not even his closest friends. And then an even bigger surprise was to befall Cell, because he had powered up even further and then decided to go for a punch squarely in the boy's face. But he'd been completely unfazed. He was toying with the Bugman now, like a young predator which toys with its prey to learn how to truly hunt. Cell wasn't his opponent at the moment. He was his plaything. On one hand, the Emperor was impressed, but on the other, his cockiness would be really risky.
Just finish him off, boy!
Cooler yelled. No response, just 2 kicks, one on the face, the other in the stomach, which caused the creature to regurgitate the female android and revert back to his previous form. It seemed that victory was upon them. But then something that Cooler was worried about happened. Cell grew to a massive size and threatened to destroy the planet.
We should go, Monsieur Cooler. Now's our chance. We do not have to be a part of this. We can end them once and for all, and not even by our own hand.
As tempting as it was, no, I want to see this through. Salza bit his lip. Surprisingly, Son Goku decided to teleport out with the creature and thusly sacrifice himself. Cooler could not believe that, and he didn't decide if this was rather brave or rather foolish, but just accepted that it had happened. The child was very distressed though, but still, they had Dragon Balls. It was easier to do so than lose their wish-granting advantage, and as such, Son Goku was gone, giving one more warning look to Cooler before leaving. It seemed that everything though was over, but then suddenly, a very strong wind blew through the area. An energy blast went through Trunks' chest. Cell was back, stronger than before. He was back in his perfect form, as if he hadn't spat out Android 18. Seemingly, if at least one of his cells had survived, he could regenerate from that. That was truly abominable. And Vegeta, in his own stupidity, decided to charge upon the now powered Bugman, but was quickly flicked away. And then on top of that, Cell destroyed the remaining Sensu. When he was about to destroy the prince, Son Goku went in to defend him, and that caused one of his arms to be completely damaged, taken out of commission. This was not looking good. But then Cooler got a readout of his prosthetics. They weren't as hot as before, and most of the repairs had been conducted. As Cell started to go toward Gohan, Cooler appeared beside the boy, transforming into his 5th form.
Let's even the odds, child, shall we?
Gohan was surprised, but nodded slowly. Cell laughed maniacally at the sight of this.
Well, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone then.
He then launched a powerful solar Kamehameha toward them. The Emperor and the son of Goku braced themselves for the impact. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.